to know the truth, all of it. We figure out who A is and how to stop him.
What exactly are we looking for?
Clues.
Not this shit again. And then there was the assault.
9 times out of 10, it's someone you know.
Sean, we need to talk.
Oh my God. Gotcha.
It's time you know the truth. What happened to us?
You started this nightmare.
Go! Or it's gonna be very bad for you.
He has to be A.
Our moms know. You didn't think we would find out.
We're 5 against 1.
This is ending tonight.
I got some disturbing news.
I feel like we're getting closer to something, Daddy.
You Imogen Adams?
Are you Joseph?
Crazy Joe.
I love Crazy Joe. I have a lot of love for Crazy Joe. I call him like misunderstood Joe. He is creepy. He lives out of a train car. There's a lot of things about him that would probably say run the other way. So, Joseph, Joe, you said you knew Angela Waters.
More than knew her. I was in love with her.
The things that make it feel creepy is actually the approach to the train. Those slightly off moments where we're pushing in very slowly on a dolly as they're walking, that give us a sense of foreboding.
The train yard was actually really cool. That actually was completely covered in snow, which we had to clear out to make sure the crew could get in and out.
I can close that if you're cold.
Crazy Joe, was it? No, thank you. We're good.
So our school is actually filmed in 2 locations. We have some of our classrooms and some of our hallways are at a stage, and the other part of our school is at an abandoned school.
Needing to shoot a school could present so many challenges when most of them are working schools. So I found an old property and it had gym, it had a cafeteria, it had multiple classrooms.
It was a school that had been abandoned for 20 years, so it had a kind of mysterious, haunted, literally when we went there, it looked like, you know, an uninhabitable place. It was hard to imagine how we were going to shoot there.
I think that's such a cool thing as well, of being here in upstate New York, where we go to the middle of nowhere to this high school that's so cool, and it really helps us build this whole story and this whole world that we're living in.
The set decorating team did an extensive amount of work tiling that entire long hallway that you see. We put in all of those lockers. It was basically a very raw space.
The dance studio was the old elementary school gym, and we just loved this space because it had all this kind of strange, unlikely decor.
Very early on, Neil and I really felt strongly that that room was going to be empty, so that floor needed to really shine.
It's just you and me now. And I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
You scarred me, Mom. Literally and figuratively.
I think at a young age, you have your role model set before you, and if you're a young woman, it's your mother. And I do think that there's sort of always 2 paths. One is, I want to be just like my mother, and one is I want to be nothing like my mother.
If you were in pain, you should have said something.
Are you for real? I did. You just didn't want to hear me.
Another question that the series is wrestling with and hopefully answering is this idea of, does history have to repeat itself? When the mothers were teenagers, they were the mean girls, and you see our girls trying to live their lives differently.
I always think it's a really interesting thing when you think you know someone and You learn so much about them that you never knew. And it kind of shifts the dynamic between the daughters and the mothers.
Her mom's been lying to her this entire time. The roles reverse, and she goes to her mom and she tells her what I'm going to do and how I'm going to live and navigate this life, and how her mom needs to do some reflection.
But hear this, Mom. I'm not gonna let your poor decisions affect the rest of my life.
She is able to contextualize something and come to terms with something that her mother simply cannot, which is, it's okay to be who you are.
We've always associated carnivals with spookiness. I think what makes carnivals scary is that there is sort of a chaos. There's always an element of danger. It's a bunch of people. We're with our parents, and our parents should be able to protect us, but that terrible things happen.
The carnival was this creepy Gothic exterior, so that became a big part of the visual language. We actually see the entrance. We created this giant kind of antique clown head entrance where we go into the carnival. And then we had to then fill the rest of the space with real rides, food vendors and attractions and things. Like everything, we wanted this to be really dense.
We had our wonderful scenic department age a lot of things, so it had kind of that 1970s, 1980s carnival feel where it's not so pristine and so sanitized. It's a little bit more gritty and dirty.
One of our big set pieces, and one of our scariest set pieces, is when Mouse and Ash go into the Hall of Mirrors.
So they go in having just bonded, and then the creeper comes.
Well, the mirror maze, you get lost in it on purpose in the story. I found the Gothic arch and columns to be really interesting. The way it reflected gave I thought, more convincing and sense of kind of infinite reflection, because you just see these arches go on forever. And also in the story, the mothers have been in this same maze, so I wanted to get the sense that this is the same maze they've been pulling out for 60 years.
We built the lighting into the Hall of Mirrors, so that one moment where Mouse runs into a mirror thinking it's an exit, and we jump out on the outside of the mirror.
I talked to Travis Patton, and he was kind of explaining to me, Mallory, she's throwing chairs at him, and Maya's running fast down her hallway, but with this one specifically, it was so psychological, and what makes the scene so scary is that the perception of yourself and being forced to perceive your inner beast and your own wrongdoings. Here's Mouse trapped in a maze, and it's her own reflection. She can't escape.